So here's my honest thought of doing more of virtual tour after visiting hundreds of property here in San Diego. And I truly think property home tour is the way to go in real estate industry. And the story goes like this. You simply look outside all of these property or these buildings. What do you see? Just the outside layer of it, right? That's oftenly mistake and happens, such as just in real estate. All you see is couple photo and maybe a virtual tour that shows you nearly the same thing like a photo, where there is no interaction in between the seller agent or anyone presenting the property to directly to the property. So I really think there is just a misconnection in between the person that is presenting the property as well as the person that is buying the property. They don't get to view it ahead of time. They don't get to approach it. So especially over COVID, when people started to work remotely, you have Zoom and everything. And just imagine you trying to buy a home from out of state into where I'm currently at, for example, in San Diego. How do you think you could approach a property just by looking at a few pictures and then you're gonna spend so much time flying all the way out here just to see the property? So why video tours of a property is so much important, and I just don't see enough people doing it, and it should be the new future of way of presenting a home. So just simply imagine you seeing a home or checking out a home, but you don't even get to see the environment, the surrounding, the street, who's your neighbor, and what are you nearby. How crazy is that you think you're buying a product without knowing almost everything about it when it is the most important purchase in your life? So like, just imagine you buying this home without me showing you at all. You have a courtyard and how it is. Man, like just personally checking out all this home, there's so much detail you could have missed out. For example, a roof window upstairs that you don't even notice. And even how the room is structured. Sometimes a picture itself doesn't say everything, but a video does. You see living room like this, and even in pictures, you don't get the same view. For example, you don't hear the sound on the street, right? But you don't get to see how long of this pool is and how is it actually structured. It may seem nice on a picture where you're sitting here laying down, but the thing is, you don't get to hear in a picture. For example, all the car sound you hear right now on the street, and how this home is on the lot. And look at that beautiful butterfly around here. And even having nature around the house is just something that you miss out a lot on just based off a picture, and buying a home with that. Without going on a virtual home tour, you probably don't know how it is set up of the home and how some of these cabinets are actually attached to the wall where you wouldn't even normally recognize it in just a virtual tour, regular virtual tour, or simply just from the picture. You probably would have think it's made up where the kitchen are looking like you're in a pool area, gives you that hot summer vibe. And just like the small detail like the switch, you probably wouldn't even know it's one of the newer design, and you have roof window and even a bathroom that just look out to the street. Like, it's obviously better for me to tell you what are the condition on a cabinet, right? You could see me personally touch it, how tall it is, where I could reach, and you could just eyeball it out and imagine yourself being in the home. Just look at the upgrade this home have, and even security camera all over. And by far a feature I bet you won't even see on a regular photo from the picture. Watching through a tour, you will find so much stuff, such as a room that is a secret room where they turn the garage into a gaming area. Like, I bet you wouldn't even notice it if you don't go through the whole entire tour of a home, right? Like, just to get to see how good of a natural lighting a home is, you gotta see it off the picture without being on a tour, because that's how the most naturalist way home are. And just like that, after spending like maybe half hour or so, give the home a full tour and make some video for it. Like, it's a lot more small details, just like that Ring camera they had on. There's so much more stuff you see than just from the photo itself, and which why I truly believe home tour and virtual tour are slightly different, and home tour will always win. And personally, walking through the whole entire neighborhood, just the surrounding, just give me a brief understanding how the neighborhood is structured and how the property type are, as well as how big of a lot they all have. Because home are pretty much similar, especially your neighborhood value. It affects a lot of your own home value, which why it's important the type of neighborhood you're in and your surrounding, not just the home itself, although that do most of the part. But in the meantime, for example, when you compare home price and value, you have to compare the same feature on the nearby neighborhood, and that's how you get a CMA of a comparison
which home had more advantage. And just walking down the street, I see another home that just look alike, and most of them do have a second story if they want it, and you have more new home that is just under construction right now. And some of you are crazy and insane about, you think when you buy a home you only buy just the home itself, but not. You're buying the environment as well, your surrounding, whatever is around, the amenity you got, like all of that is so much to include, more than just a picture of whatever you got on the MLS or what you see on Zillow. I'm not gonna lie, I grew up in an environment where I literally would need to pick up furniture off the street for free because we just can't afford it. We didn't come from a rich, wealthy family, but I honestly think seeing home tour and seeing the surrounding, you might just end up finding surprise stuff that might surprise you. Might be the fact that you want to end up getting a home, or the fact that you don't want to after checking it out. So like this one, for example, there's literally no crosswalk on this street. So I literally have to jake walk, and then I have to wait for all the cars to empty out and literally to run across. And like, I personally don't got a car, so I either Uber, public transportation to every property, which why I could tell you that most of the home I go to is good in transportation, where it's walkable and easy access. You probably don't even know this is just 5 minutes away from your home, where you got a whole empty space and a freeway down to that side, and there's no crosswalk down the whole entire street next to your house. But like, guess what? If you were driving, you're just a few minutes away from all the grocery store and the food store. And so like, crazy part is every time I visit property, I literally walk there, and it's like a workout every time. Especially I hate climbing the mountain and the hill, and that's how some of those homes is good, that you live in a private area, whereas you got a lot of quietness and enjoyment and peacefulness. But if you were ever walking down the street or whatever, you're gonna be having a hard time. Yep, street just like this, and you got a little different apartment around it. And the craziest part is, this is not the hardest thing to do. You simply film a video, spend some extra time walking through the property, going through every detail with your customer and client, and that build up even a closer relationship. For example, you and I going through a home tour video that I made, you probably definitely get to know me better of the way how I speak and the way I talk, and even along with the property. And as of right now, I'm going to visit another fixer flipper modern luxury home, but just to see how they do the work, such as the contractor going through the house and how they actually fix and flip this up to make it where it's feasible. Like, you often don't get to see what I'm visiting. You often don't get to see where the house point of view directly, you get to see some high-rise building on the street. Every home is different in ways, and even maybe sometimes the fixer flipper might end up looking the same style. By now, I probably already checked out tons of maybe 10s to 100 of the same fixer flipper type of modern housing style, and how they turn it into a profitable, maybe investment, not quite sure. And sometimes what you see on a picture of the home might not be how it is actually like, because sometimes it might be quite smaller or bigger than what you would expect. But in the video, I could explain it, I could tell with my real personal, maybe give you a comparison so you would know how big this home actually is, especially if you get to see all the furniture, the backyard, and the surrounding. So like, you might just end up giving a different value for the entire house after you're watching a whole home tour, rather than just a virtual tour you see on the link they give you, or just like a 360 camera. You don't get that smooth experience where you walk through the whole entire house all at once with no cutting, no editing, none of that BS, and cut out all of that. And as well as someone with a real estate agent perspective, or even with an investment perspective, where I could just explain some of the detail and break it down, meanwhile going through the house, such as the small detail you could see, the lighting they use, the color of the lighting, all of that is a lot of small detail that makes it the big difference. And this could honestly be more tiring than where I regularly would talk to clients, because if you imagine I post a house tour video or a home tour that I walk through the whole entire home smoothly without any cut, I have to have all the knowledge and prepare it ahead of time, as well as knowing everything about this home and the surrounding area before I present it. But also, meanwhile, imagine seeing a home on a house tour that is on the market, and you're being able to rewatch it as much time as you want to go through the whole entire tour, to maybe even just already imagine yourself being in the home, or such as getting the measurement if you want it, ever requested. That could be done by us agent humanly going into the property and showing you guys. And don't ever underestimate the power of just walking through the home and seeing it on social media, because that's another big win for bonus if you really want to get your home sold, or if you're looking forward to buy a home from a whole new another place, that it might have just be your choice that it randomly popped up on the search bar, or maybe a suggested video for you to check out the home. So like regularly you will go approach and you talk to one client, but when you make a home tour video like what I do, I talk to millions of client or customers that potentially could find me or see me, and which why it brings in more opportunities, such as just simply selling this home, or that the amount of people to visit this home, the amount of attention that this home is getting on the market, and as well as what people would think, because that's the point of having social media, right? People give out their comment, what they think of the home, what are some improvement, and you could simply take that as an example to work it off. At the end of the day, it's best to have your own home, right? Like, I understand it's better to obviously make the home your best choice, but it's never gonna hurt if you hear of someone else's opinion on the home. Maybe they've been around the neighborhood and they see it. They might be the expert, and even more expert than me, because they've been living here for years. And I could guarantee you and 100% sure that they know the neighborhood well enough and better. Just for example, seeing the outside neighbor walking around in short, he looks like he's ready to work or going to the beach. I know this is gonna be a chill neighborhood and relaxed, and which is why this home meant for a fixer flipper. And on the other hand, when I make short video as well, short clip of the home and post them on Instagram, it's better and it gained more attraction as well. I give them number breakdown, so you could just quickly run through the number, seeing if the home is really in part of your range, and maybe I give you some update and tips about the surrounding area every once in a while. Because just for example, in the location Claremont, there's so much more development that is happening, which is why I think a lot of homes are going through the gentrification, that's the right word I meant. And it's just going to a lot of be rehab, a lot of home being fixed up, and then more younger generation moving into the city. And such as, if you imagine UCSD being right next to it, and people come out here to the Convoy Street, which is in Claremont or Kearney Mesa, with all the food and stuff, it brings in so much traffic, and it just simply up the value and price. Just look at the price in La Jolla now, especially with UCSD around. Like, I personally struggle finding housing to rent, and at the end of the day, when you buy a home, there's so much factor you have to look for, not just the home itself, and which why I think home tour explains it all rather than picture. Because if you imagine a picture itself, like I have to mention so many times, a picture, you only see it visualized, but with video, you have visualization, audio, as well as image. Well, it's the same as visualization, but I could bring in so much more info in the video. For example, I could put it in the caption, in the description, or I could just simply describe it in the video, while in a picture is so much thing you could say. Property on the market that before you even really hit the market, because we just have exclusive access to show all these homes, and you get the first impression and first view of the home before everyone else that only see the picture. But getting to know the neighborhood around, every time I walk down the street, either here in Claremont or somewhere else, I know I showed a fixer flipper to that side, and then there's some home that is just on the market, literally not even worth the value, and there are some home that is ready to be fixed up and that I could potentially wholesale it. And with video, I could always go back and readjust and then film it again. But like picture, once you take it, most of the time those photographers, they're gone, and then the picture are set, used for the house. Video are just more of arrangeable and easier to fix up. And most of the time from a picture, you only see the good part about the house. You don't even get to interact with the small detail, the little secret spot, or maybe the best spot that homeowner really treated nicely, or maybe just a secret room that they have in the house that you would never know. Like, just check out the busy street out from the house, and you got Jack in the Box and a lot of food down the whole entire street. And this is just recently opened up too, a new car wash right by. And yes, like I mentioned before, look, you see all those development, and this one, all of those are coming in Claremont. Whenever you see a new development in a new town or city, that's how you know the economic is coming in, and more money are being into the city so that they could afford to build property. And I'm sure it's probably feasible, since this is a popular area, might be for students. And proud enough to say, 4 years ago, started off as a dishwasher at Panera. And like I say, they got TM Branch, Chase, all of that gas station, and then you got Home Depot, Target, and the 99 Ranch, which is Asian market, down the whole entire street in this area. And if I know a place got McDonald's, that's probably the best. I could just walk out and get McDonald's. That's where my actual home is nearby, but not in San Diego. Like, trust me, McDonald's is the best friend for everyone. And often you probably don't even notice this, how much a McDonald's could do and affect your home property value too. Look, think about if you live very close, how convenient would it be for you to go to Target? There's a lot more factor about the outside surrounding area, and not having a car is very inconvenient. And yep, we like to do a lot of Zoom and online meeting, which is why it's important to live in a great house. Like TikTok in class, this is the way.
Water management or farmers markets, whatever it is. So
without telling you a fact, you probably wouldn't know how much sunlight you get from here and how hot it is. For example, in the apartment where we live, look at this is the afternoon right now and how much sunlight we are getting and how hot it would be in this room. Imagine you just sitting here and working. You probably wouldn't even know. There would have been so much amenity and the location, view, and everything without seeing a tour. You probably wouldn't even know the amount of enjoyment I get from reading from these spots and then just enjoying the whole entire view of La Jolla, and you look out to all the way over there, the church. But like literally, I say you get the first hands-on of any type of home tour and you're willing to share it, and then I don't care if you post it on the internet or just sending it directly to your customer, but at least you're getting interaction in between in the video, because I could truly express, I could tell you how hot it is right now and then how great the temperature is, how great the view is, but an image doesn't tell anything. There's no interaction between you and I, so what is really the point of having the real estate agent in between for the transaction, right? If in there for being like your friend, you're telling you this good news, so what is the point of having them? And which why I want to focus heavily and believe that home tour will eventually be all over places. And if the homeowner ever requested for you to take it down, go ahead. But sometimes I don't get why people don't like it when it's recorded, but then you're willing to post a house on the MLS. It's gonna be viewed by the public, and then the next person get it, they get it. Look, today in the internet world, people could see anything, they could find anything if they want to. You could literally hire someone to get the stuff, and that's why there's such a role like cybersecurity, but I don't want to go any deeper. And now finally, I'm not here to ever sell you anything. I'm not pressuring you at all, but I just want to share you the experience of touring a whole home throughout the whole entire process of being the smoothest way as possible, because often you see picture and stuff, that's just a small detail, but when you got the curiosity, you want to learn more. You obviously want to see a full tour of it. And me, as my job, I try to be the first one and the newest to go through the whole entire property. If you ever seen how Ryan Serhant does it, I'm following that track because I just believe that if you can't even feel or get any in touch and interaction with the property, what makes that property outstanding for you to get into? What is the buying point there? You probably wouldn't see any of that.